Now then, known for combining his love of travel with his love of food, Rick Stein's here with a recipe he fell in love with whilst he was on a recent tour of France, and it's in this Rick Stein's Secret France, which you say a lot of your friends have said that France is becoming sort of a bit samey as far as food's concerned because the tourists have wrecked it.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think it is true that a lot of French cooking isn't what it used to be, and part of this journey, most of it, is of course a labour of love going through parts of the world that I love and have loved ever since I was a child.
And so it's someone like you and your knowledge of France that needs to be able to find these places?
Do you know, Philip, I think it is, actually. I mean, I think if you just go to a small French town, like us or not, you're not going to have the best food. I mean, sometimes, and occasionally in the film, we do just go spontaneously into somewhere, one in particular, right down in Roussillon for a Sunday lunch with the French, which was fantastic. Yeah. But generally, you do need to be a bit in the know, you know.
Well, thankfully, you are, and you've taken us on that journey with you, because the book, as we say, is Secret France, but also there's the BBC Two series also called Secret France, and that starts on the 5th of November. And you are cooking for us today something
Well, I
lovely.
am, Holly. This is... what I really like about this French series is I'm back on sort of very, very known territory, right?
Right.
This is like, as you said, a superior fish pie, but it's, being French, it's called a gratin.
OK.
And basically what I'm doing here is just poaching my fish, and I've got hake, lovely scallops and some prawns in fish stock.
Right.
And that's going to form the basis of the sauce. And it's really important, actually, when you're doing this, to cook your fish first. Otherwise, when you finish it off in the oven as a gratin with the breadcrumbs and cheese on top, the fish will carry on cooking and leak out juices.
Oh, and it becomes watery.
It becomes watery.
So you're sort of just poaching them a little bit. You're not kind of going too mad.
No,
so they still keep their
Because you don't want to spoil the scallops either.
No,
such a beautiful flavour.
Gosh, they're so good. It's funny because I got this this recipe from a place in Dieppe called Le New Haven. Right. I put it in the book. I was just wondering whether there's any restaurants in New Haven called Le Dieppe. But what's really nice about it is that it's... I found that quite odd, but it really works. I'm going to serve it with some apples fried with sugar and butter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And you're going to try them.
What, not as dessert?
No, just with it. But I was sort of like reasoned... You know, when I was served it, I just thought, well, this is a bit weird.
But it works.
It
so
sort of does.
You've got to that stage. Now you're going to make the sauce.
I am. So basically, I've got this really rich stock now. So I'm going to add some cream, a little bit of wine to the stock, and just let that simmer down for a while. Just to it's a great word we always use in cooking. Reduce, you know, because you get the flavour then.
Everything.
And here, what I'm going to do after that is I've got some leeks sweating off in some butter. I don't know why, but I just find that that leeks have a sort of affinity with seafood, particularly things like scallops, in a way that onions don't.
They're a bit more delicate, aren't they, in a way?
I think so. And also, it just looks really nice in the finished gratin.
So you've just put some flour in there?
Yeah.
Is that normal flour, or is that
just ordinary plain flour. And it's, you know, it's what we call a roux.
And so is that going then into the sauce?
The sauce will go... This will go into that.
Right, OK.
And, of course, because, you know, we've got to rush through this.
Yeah, of course.
I love...
Just
I love
so I
it
know
on
for
TV
myself.
because they say you've got 8 minutes, and then you start, you say 3.5.
Yeah, and you haven't even started yet.
That one might have been our fault.
This,
No, not at all, Philip. I mean, it's like, you know, it's what you do.
On professional
I just
shows,
ask
you get
you-
your 8 minutes.
do you put a little bit at a time? Or
Yeah,
we've
got time to do that, which is really good. Actually, I have got the 8 minutes, so I'm internally grateful to you, really.
That's all. You're welcome.
So
Might
it's
even
like...
let you go over.
So it's a third and a third and a third.
Oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, it is a fish pie. You would be doing the same thing if you're making a fish pie. But the two reasons I like it is, A, I have put some fairly sort of deluxe fish in there. And the other thing is that the topping, fish pie normally has mashed potato on top, but this one's got a gratin. Actually, you can do that. If you just take that cheese and a few of the breadcrumbs, just all those breadcrumbs into the cheese.
And that's what a gratin is, cheese and breadcrumbs?
For me, it is, because when I walked into this...
Mix them up.
Restaurant, yeah, just mix them up, yeah.
Stick a mince pie in there, I would.
Well, sorry, I suppose I should have... Yeah, it looks lovely.
No, don't lie.
No, fair enough. But I think what makes this dish...
Yeah.
And I was just... When I wrote about this restaurant, Le Dieppe, it is the smell of cheese when you go in there. And I think that's one of the things that really separates France from the UK, is that restaurants always smell right with cheese.
Yeah.
And I think actually most restaurants, if you went into a British restaurant like that, you think, oh, this is a bit on the nose, isn't it? Whereas in France, and also when you've got the smell of hot Emmental cheese when you go in there.
Heavenly.
It's just,
Shall I keep that over here, or would you like it over there?
No, I'll have it over there. We can just...
OK, chef.
Yeah, just here, Philip. Thank you very much. There's the sauce made. In fact, I've got one. Of course, it's a little bit better reduced that I've done earlier. So we're just going to pour that... I've forgotten my parsley.
Oh,
you know, what
don't
is a
forget that.
Fish pie without any parsley in it. So that just goes over the... I mean,
it looks good, doesn't it?
It's like... It's comfort food. There's no
And then
question
does this
about
just
it.
sprinkle all over the top?
Yeah, that's it.
And then you
Not
pop it in the
hard.
oven?
Then you pop it in the oven.
And how long does that
Well,
take?
it depends. As it's hot like now, probably about 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
But, of course, the great thing about this, and see how much cheese goes in there. This is where the richness is. You can make the base beforehand, keep it chilled, and then you want about 40 minutes for that.
Oh,
So
my
that's
gosh.
it. And you can imagine, you know, when that comes out...
Yeah.
Gonna smell
Hope
a
I'm
bit
going to be doing more than imagining in a minute.
So, of course, I've got one I made earlier.
That's what I was hoping for.
Which is definitely for you to try. And somewhere I've got a nice plate. There we go.
There you are.
So, and this is how I had it. Oh, gosh, that's smelling
I'm
good.
intrigued how this is going to go with the apples.
Well, just honestly, Holly, just try it. It's sort of, I like you, I just thought, oh, this is never going to work. And you still, you know, I'll be quite prepared to accept it may not. But I don't know. It's from Normandy, you know. It's,
I mean, it looks absolutely lovely.
It's
So, a little bit of apple with a little bit of fish.
yeah, that's right.
And this series really, I suppose, would be a tribute to David Pritchard, wouldn't it? Who you worked with for 30 years.
30, yeah. Well, but it was his idea originally to do this thing. I think for him, I think he knew he was on the way out, and it was a sort of nostalgic trip for him. So, of course, I went along with it. Because both of us remember the 80s when people... There was a guy called Richard Binns in the 80s that went off and found secret restaurants all over France. And that was the sort of thing that inspired us.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Can you remember, you know, you just go off the beaten track
Absolutely.
and sort of,
That's
That's
what
what the fun.
This is really lovely. And you're right, the apples, the sort of sweetness with the apples works, doesn't it?
It's beautiful. It really is. Absolutely stunning.
Good.
Thank you.
I'm hungry myself, actually.
Secret France is out on Thursday, and the new BBC Two series is, as Holly said, starts Tuesday on the 5th of November.
Ain't
Thank
that
you
good, eh?
very much indeed.
Very
Brilliant.
happy.
Lovely
Very
to
good.
see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, for all the recipe details, take a look at our This Morning app.